Okay, in theory, this is going out. I don't know. I genuinely don't know because Rumble is just being weird. Alright, need to... Oh. It's going out. Okay, yeah, no, it can... I have no idea. I really have no idea. Let me try this again. Okay, so yeah, that sees that. Wait, what the... Nope. Well, that's part of me. What the heck is going on here? Like, I want to use this one, but it's... I have no idea. I have no idea. Rumble's just being weird. But it's also, I can't even do this in my normal browser. Because it was like, oh yeah, here you go. You can, be in the... Oh, now no longer connected to camera or microphone. I don't know. But what else is weird here? Hang on. What am I able to do here? Am I able to do anything? You know what? Yeah, let me try this. Will this have me here? Now I'm there. If I come here, what happens? Okay, I got no idea. But here, I got no idea. I got nothing. And this, it worked last week, and in a different browser. I would say I'm doing this in Edge. I normally don't use Edge. I normally am using Waterfox. I have to tell it each time. Allow. Didn't want to do that this time. Didn't want to allow this time. Let me... I have no idea what will actually happen if I do this. Let's just quickly see. Okay, there. You might really hate this. Okay, I don't know which... Nope. Did it again. We just... I got no idea. I really have no idea. So there. That's... Alright. We'll just do this through Edge. Which, I mean, technically does have some advantages because, where are they? Here they are, although they're not showing. But in theory, I have put some, like, just clips on here, but the thing is, I can't... Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm seeing a stutter. That's... Okay, there, now it's populating. I'd put different, clips that have been pulled... Because one nice thing about putting all my movies and such onto a server is that means I also have the file so I can go in and cut things out. But in Waterfox, because it's a Firefox derivative, Firefox fork, it doesn't actually support showing them. So, well, like, I can't see them there, so if I hit to play, it doesn't even play them. I don't see that. In theory, they are playing. But Edge does do that because Edge is based on Chrome, well, Chromium, so, yeah. I'm not certain, but I could believe it is one of those things where Google is just so big that they just bully, and it's like, technically this should be following internet standards, which Firefox and therefore Waterfox would obey, but not always. And I'm just looking, got any funny ones here? It'd be fun to share. Here, let me. I got two that are from Lawrence of Arabia, just because I know I'll come to Star Trek. I promise I will. But yeah, I got this one. Let's see how this goes. Since why not? Why not test it? Things are already going off the rails. What the hell? Why not?
I thought I was a hard man, sir.
You are merely a general. I must be a king.
Okay, so yeah, that did play fine for me. So yeah, if I ever want to use those, I should really do an Edge. But yeah, that's near the end of Lawrence of Arabia, and yes, that was Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it is I like that line. Just the so what has happened there in Lawrence of Arabia is he's basically been dismissed. His efforts have won them such important and significant victories, but they don't want him around anymore because he's too powerful a symbol, even. And both those men, the British general and Prince Faisal. I think he's still Prince. He might. I don't remember exactly. It's been 8 months. No, it might be closer to 6 months since I last watched it. Anyway, but it's just such a cold line there, and Guinness delivers it well. That yes, there is that regret there, but it still is because generally you say, I thought I was a hard man, but it's like, you just have to be a general, I have to be king. It's like, yeah, I like that line. Anyway, and now I think this one would also be appropriate. Perhaps I should use a different one, but that's from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the whole of the army yelling to get on with it, which I shall do now. Okay, so Star Trek, the animated series. It is, there we go. This is episode 4, I think it is. Yes, season 1, episode 4 for the aired order, but it's the 6th one produced, which is why I'm getting to it now. The Lorelei signal. And it is interesting. So the premise to it is there's this sector in space that ships are consistently disappearing in. And it's like, oh, well, that's a problem. And the Enterprise has been sent to investigate. And one thing that they add that is interesting because of how technically there should be consequences from this. But those don't really come up, which is one of the things that I do dislike about the episode. Excuse me. Is that the Federation has been losing ships there for 150 years, I think they said. They've also talked to the Klingon Empire and Romulan Empire, and they've also been losing ships there. And now they have this more complete record. They found that it happens about every 27 years. Okay, that's oddly specific. So it's like they go and start searching. As they're in the sector, they pick up a signal, the Lorelei signal. But they pick that up, and now they are going to investigate the specific planet that it is from. And it's actually funny. I did see one piece of trivia relating to its name because they said it and it just kind of in one ear out the other. Taurus 2, which apparently that they shouldn't have used that name because it's the same name as the planet from the Galileo 7. And apparently when asked about this, it was... Yeah, the Star Trek Concordance, copyright 1975, tried to explain this apparent inconsistency by mentioning that even on 20th century Earth, there were wild, untamed regions where, if a space traveler landed there, they would find it hard to believe that places such as London or Paris existed on the same planet. On the one hand, yes, planets are incredibly big. You can certainly have something like that happen. On the other hand, so also kind of a cop-out, I'd be more comfortable with just saying they were both named at, relatively the same time, and they couldn't decide which to keep it. I mean, they can just be planets with the same name. I know that may sound silly, but I mean, it is technically, yeah, you could absolutely have that happen. Because, think about it. Okay, this, I am a little biased, because this is technically part of the canon for my Catherine verse, is that there was a period, which, by the way, only Earth, and that only humans, don't have to, I'm not concerned with other alien species, other species, intelligent species. Anyway, is that basically the initial effort to explore the galaxy and found colonies was difficult, but then it reached a point where it was accessible enough that you would see groups just go and do that. But it was being done so rapidly that there was a lot of lost records, such that there are planets where it's in I Call My Ship Catherine, which I don't recommend. They actually find a colony there, and it's like, whoa, wasn't expecting this today. And it was just one of those, they went out that no one kept a record, and everyone died there. But even if they didn't die, it still is they might never communicate back. And it's just, that's possible. In which case, then you could have multiple planets with the same name because they got named by people that aren't going to change the name now and pick the same name. I mean, it does happen. So, it'd be kind of like if you had two cousins that maybe like other sides of the country kind of thing, but both end up having children that they name some of them like they both have children that they name the same name, and it's just random. It's not like, oh, name it after a common grandparent, but just say nope, really like the same. They do that. It's like, oh well, it's not like we're gonna change the name now. So yeah, I could see it being something like that, and that's mostly what I would just go to is, yeah, people just accidentally name planets the same, or stars the same, because technically Taurus 2 is just saying it's the second planet in the Taurus star system. Which I'll also mention with Stargate, notice the majority of the planets there, unless they meet the people there and they give them a name, they have code names for. Because of each chevron on the Stargate, they basically just associate with a number, treating it like an alphabet. And they just build it up that way. So it's actually just the address encoded like that. And then also they do mention at the end of season 7, I believe it is when it's actually established that no, the planet name, the chevrons were also given sounds such that you could pronounce them as a name. So that every planet has a name that is its address. Which is an interesting idea, although I'm not sure exactly how you could do that, because consonants and vowels and such, I mean, it's a neat idea. Don't get me wrong. I like that. And it's also a good episode, but still a little weird. Anyway, oh no, that's kind of weird. When I mouse over, I see Alec Guinness there. I don't know if that's coming through. Kind of hope not. A little weird. Anyway, coming back to this. So, while hearing the signal, the men are just like, feel like it's calling me there. And hers on the bridge is like, what? That, I don't hear that. What are you talking about? But it's all of them. And as they get closer, well, first, her is like, huh. Hey, Christine, would you mind coming up to the bridge? So she's calling Nurse Chapel. And it's just like, and Stephen A., what do you want me here? So medical? No, I want you to just see. I want to know if you're also seeing what's going on with the men here. Like, is it just me that's kind of crazy, or are they crazy? I need your help with this. Which, I mean, it's fair. It makes sense. And the men are just getting a little bit worse, because now it's not just that they're hearing stuff from the signal; it's starting to be visual hallucinations as well. Starting with Spock talking about, well, he hears and he's also like seeing a Vulcan marriage drum being played, and then we see Kirk and he's just seeing a woman with flowers. So it's they're just seeing basically something about their own culture that would be considered a beautiful woman. Something tied to that. So essentially what's going on here is we have space sirens, but they only impact the men, not the women. You do end up with a landing party that goes down. Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and a random red shirt who does survive. But they go down. So Scotty's left in charge, but when they're down there, it just gets... It's one of those bad to worse kind of situations. Because they're already under the influence. But when down there, they are growing weaker. And like it's harder for them to resist. But also, at one point, they basically pass out. And are given these headbands that they don't realize it at first, but it's draining them of their energy, of their life energy, bioenergy, however you want to call it. So it's causing them to age rapidly. They managed to escape because Bones' medical kit he got to keep, and he had a stimulant in there that was able to give them energy to move, basically. And also some other equipment so they could get through a door. Kind of just hand-wavy sci-fi stuff, but I mean, it's alright. It's not unreasonable, though. It's even asked, wonder why they let you keep it. Maybe they didn't think it would be of any value. But they did take phasers, communicators, and it looked like there was a third thing. Well, tricorders would have been in there. So yeah, they did take that equipment, but not that. but not the medical kit. So now they run away, manage to hide, and they're in a bad situation. But before continuing with that, let's get back to the bridge of the Enterprise, where Uhura's like, yeah, this is bad. All the men are acting weird. Lost contact with the captain. And also Christine has finally finished analyzing the signal. I think I have the order right. Maybe I have it a little bit wrong. But what ultimately happens is they recognize, because the computer analysis, that, oh yeah, this is a signal that's going to influence men. It's going to mess them up. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is bad. So Uhura's like, all right, we are going to, well, she's then like, all right, security, I need all women teams to go to all the transporter rooms and secure them. And Chapel's like, why? It's like, I'm taking command of the ship. And then when Uhura actually goes up to the bridge, Scotty is there. He is in command, but he's out of it. He's just singing. And she's like, okay, Commander Scott, I'm going to be taking command. Are you okay with it? And he's like, oh, yeah, that's fine. And so she just records ship's log supplemental at this time, taking command. Which, by the way, it is worth noting that as an officer, and also one of the bridge officers, Uhura has always been in the chain of command, such that, I mean, Kirk, Spock, Scotty would be 3 above. I'm not sure where Bones would fall in the chain of command as far as taking command of the Enterprise, because he is also a commander. And he would have been trained for that, so he could potentially command the ship if necessary. But he is chief medical officer, so not sure about that. I don't know, because Sulu is also lieutenant. Chekhov is described as an ensign, typically. I want to say that he's Ensign Chekhov. I don't know if it would be Uhura or Sulu that would be... Well, no. Uhura, I'm pretty sure, is older. I think canonically she's older, so it's possible she would have more experience. So yes, she would be in command before Sulu, when it is you're just going through chain of command. That's reasonable. But it is Sulu being given command at times. It's like, well, he is in a more command role. You can also just see it being he's more the command type for the personality than she is. Because it's like, same thing with Scotty, technically. Like, he probably hates taking command of the bridges to say, I got it sometimes, so yeah, I'm doing it. But it is like how, even in the movies, Scotty basically, he never gets command of a ship because he doesn't want that. Uhura, it makes sense. I think she actually, it might only be in the Star Trek 6 novelization, that she basically just wanted to teach. She wanted to retire and just teach. She wasn't interested in commands, but she's definitely capable of it. And it even says in the trivia that this was her favorite episode of Star Trek because she got to command. And it's like, okay, cool. So there is some... I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. It isn't really girl bossy. Definitely not her. The character there is actually handled very well, very respectfully. But it's also, I will grant, I think her is a very good character. I just always have. Like, if you go back and look at, yeah, very much in the Star Trek 3 novelization, and also in Star Trek 4, I'm calling out that Uhura's character is great in those because she does seem very competent and very, very intelligent as well. And it's just, like I was saying, she's very good. But she isn't necessarily a captain type of person. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like how Kirk would not be a communications type person either. So, there are some girl boss issues. Well, not really girl boss, but just, it doesn't make sense why women get away with things that they really shouldn't. But that's more so with the sirens on the planet. So anyway, her is taking command, and it's just doing what she has to do up on the bridge. Coming back to the men who are aging, they are hiding. And it's like, okay, what do we do now? We have to signal the ship. We don't have our communicators. And Spock is like, well, my biology is different than all of you, and I have a longer lifespan since their lives are being drained. So it's like, all right, I will go because I've got the best chance to succeed. And he is able to get back to the temple where this stuff has been going on. And there's a screen there that can be used to basically call up information, but also it was shown earlier that it can be used to it was actually what was used to see the Enterprise while it was still out in space. So it's actually funny, when they came down to the planet, the Sirens there knew their names. This is never fully explained other than just well, the screen tells us. Okay. But he's able to ask that, and it is funny because it's activated by sound to like just reveal the screen and turn on, and the sound it's kind of like boing, and it's just like, okay, sure, let's have both when the women do that, and then later Spock make that noise to get control of the screen. Sounds good. Let's do it. It's just silly. But from that, he's able to find out where the equipment was, gets there, gets a communicator. He is now caught, but he is still able to tell Uhura, we need a rescue party, and it should be all women. And also, I forgot to mention, with the headbands, they drain more energy when the women are nearby. And the headbands and stuff, all that does get explained later, and that's really where the weakness is sharpest. I do still think that just this whole siren kind of idea is silly. I mean, there's ways of doing it, I just don't think this is necessarily a good example. And plus, I don't think it's fair that Spock should be impacted by this, because he's a Vulcan. He's supposed to be able to control himself, his emotions, his urges and such that this shouldn't impact him, at least not to the degree. He's depicted no different than Kirk or Spock. Sorry, Kirk or McCoy. So it's like, yeah, I don't think that's quite right. But anyway, so Uhura beams down with Chapel and with a bunch of women security team members, which it was a little funny seeing them in the transporter room because they're all in the what would it be considered? The normal uniform dress that you see, well, uniform dress, I'll say, because dress uniform is something else. But uniform dress that Uhura wears, and it's just like, I'm sorry, I'm just not sure how intimidating it is to see, even though it's a large group of women, but basically half their legs are just exposed. It's like, I get it going with a phaser, but I really feel in a security role, slacks are fine. I just, that's appropriate there. But anyway, they beam down, and one thing that is funny, because it's like they approached by the sirens, and her's like, we're here for the men. It's like, I mean, yeah, they were here. It's like, we're not really gonna help you. And then it's like, okay, fire. And they just, it's like immediately, just the whole, yep, start shooting them. On stun, yes, but still is just immediately start doing that. It's like, yep, yeah, that seems about right. I mean, to be fair, men tend to be wired that you put us in a bad situation, we try to take control of it over time, but we can enter into the bad situation, assess it, take out time, and then decide how we want to react to it. Because we will typically, for better or worse, consider ourselves capable of letting the situation go forward and then gaining control. Whereas in this, it's no, the men aren't here, start stunning. It's immediate, just no, we're not letting things escalate. Which technically there are issues there. But, to be fair, they know there is a threat. This is a completely appropriate reaction. It's just kind of funny. Appropriate, but funny. So they do that, start searching, find Spock because, and this I don't care much for either, he just uses Vulcan telepathy, which is, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that Vulcans, I get that in the original series there is some suggestion of it, but I do feel that, with one exception, their telepathy should always require direct physical contact. The whole mind meld thing. Like it should involve that. The one exception is, and I do have issues with how Ponfar is handled, but the idea that is shown in Amok Time that he and his bride-to-be, because they're arranged marriages, would have been linked as children, such that even over a great distance, I don't remember her name, but she is aware when Spock enters Ponfar. That I'm good with, mainly because of this bonding that occurs, this mental bonding that happens as children. That's why I'm good with that. So anyway, coming back to this. He is calling out to Christine. It works. They find him, and they do what they can to help him, beam him up, but it's still, it's he is so drained that it's really hard to figure things out. And it's really hard for him to share much. They do manage to get the headband off him, which helps. But he does order them to put everything, all the energy possible, into the shields to stop the signal. So I'm just... Yeah, no. That signal's different. That signal's different. So yes, it makes sense. The order makes sense. But then it's well, we still don't know where the men are, so Uhura comes back down. And is then talking with the head of the Sirens, who explains the situation. I'll get to that. But then does use this display thing to be like, tell us where the men of the Enterprise are. And it's like, they literally had to go out on a search party to try to find them earlier, because like, oh, we lost them. They didn't just ask that to be before, so that's kind of a problem. Kind of a significant problem. Yeah. Anyway, they do that. Find where they are, go and help them. And then beam them up to the ship and try to do what they can, but can't really do anything. Because it's just, how do you restore their life energy, their life force? Well, apparently it's just, we beam them down to the planet, then we beam them back up, but use their patterns from earlier to restore them. Which I don't care much for this. Because there's just various technical issues with this. Because it's too powerful. I mean, because technically doing that would mean you need never be concerned of any kind of medical danger from an away mission. Now, true, it does say that there's a very low chance of this working successfully. They're just that desperate. But still is... I don't think it's appropriate to do that. Now, in the trivia, it did note that... Let me look. There was a TNG episode, and I do remember some of the TNG episode at least. Unnatural Selection, that's the name of it. Where a bunch of the crew start aging. Enhanced DNA developments trigger an epidemic of rapid aging caught among its victims. Dr. Pulaski. I'm just trying to remember exactly how... Okay, I don't quite remember how that one goes. But it's mentioned that also uses the transporters in order to solve the problem. But I don't quite recall what that was, and I hope it wasn't that they would just, oh, well, we will just reapply your old pattern on there. Because it's also like, they've already been beamed up. Why are you saving patterns that long? So, see, I just... There are consequences for making a decision like that. But then also, to be fair, this is still like original series era Star Trek in that they weren't thinking technically. These were TV shows. It's not until TNG that, well, also the movies, but TNG, I think, largely, that you really started to see an effort to make sure that there's technical accuracy and consistency throughout the series. So, yeah, I do have to give it a break there, but it still is like, I'll still complain. So, yeah, they get healed, but it does end with her talking to the women about, what's going to happen and all that. So, yeah, let me go back to what is up with this planet? Who are these Sirens? Why are they doing this stuff? Excuse me. So they explain that They are not native to that planet. They came to it potentially a century and a half ago. But when they got there, what they discovered was that there was just an effect of the planet itself that would drain the men of energy. Well, it also drains the women. Drains anyone that's on there. But, and that's actually true, that's a problem, because it should be impacting her, and Chaplin, all the ladies at the Enterprise. But what they found was that the women developed a glandular secretion that actually countered this. So basically, their bodies started doing something that protected them from the impact of the planet, while the men just lost energy, were drained of life, and died. They had also discovered, though, that the same defense mechanism to the planet also gave them the ability to manipulate the emotions of their men. And, so this is bad. They then came up with the way to drain energy from men in order to preserve their own lives, because, well, there are no men there, so they can't have children for that reason. But also, it is stated that they are incapable of bearing children at this point. So their only means of survival is to basically kidnap men, trap them here, to drain them of energy, and they have to do this about once every 27 years. This is wrong. I get it's for their survival, but it's still wrong. This is kidnapping. This is murder. Because it's not like they see... It's one thing if it's depicted in science fiction where it's like, oh, you have a super advanced species. That's just like, yeah, we need you to survive. But here's the thing. We see you like cattle. So, really, why would we care what you think or what your morals are? I'm saying there's an argument you can make there about, are instances of that appropriate? It depends. And I can see an argument being, it depends. Because to me, it's like, I have no problem with eating beef and such, because like that cow was bred for the purpose of feeding people like me. It is fulfilling its purpose through its death and slaughter. It's like that's fine. There's also the aspect that they don't show any kind of super intelligence to equate to be equal to ours in a way that it would be like, oh yeah, we don't want to eat things that talk to us kind of thing. It's like, but it's a bit different. So it is you might still say humans are a lower life form, but you can't say is unintelligent. Might not be on your level, but not unintelligent. It's one of those weird things, because there's a reason why in some of the stuff that I write, I prefer to refer to super intelligence. Because you always get those people that are like, well, dolphins are intelligent or something like that. It's like, it's not the same thing. It is not at all the same thing. There is no species but man that has produced civilizations, that has produced language, okay? No, there isn't a comparison there. We are the dominant species. We should respect all the other species, but that doesn't mean we can't eat them. Just doesn't mean it. Anyway, but these sirens, they don't carry themselves in any way that wouldn't be described as equal to ours. So, and that's kind of a problem to me. It's actually a very major problem, because at the end it's just, oh yeah, we're going to send another ship crewed only by women that will, take you up and just take you to another planet. They have been murdering men for about 150 years now. And they just try to do it to you. I get for their survival, but still there's a lot of things you could say. Well, we only did it for our survival. It's like, yeah, but it's still murder. It's still wrong. You can do other things. Because also you came here from another world. Why didn't you just leave? There's spacefaring. We already know that. That is established. Why didn't they just spacefare away again? Although I did put in my notes, because there's a part of me that's like, well, maybe the explanation, and it's just a little funny, it was the men who knew how to work the rockets, not the women, so they were stranded. I would say, that's possible. I don't know. I mean, but then the women are the ones who, in theory, figured out the headbands, not the men, because the men would have been dead. And it's also, why would the men do that? That seems horrible. I mean, it's like, here, let me give this to you so you can kill me and other men. It's like, no, that just doesn't. I don't think. Even if I had a wife, I'd still think it would be a no. I know. I get it, I'm gonna die early, before you. Say I'm a man. That's kind of the expectation anyway. It's like, can't it just be, you just come after me? Can we just do that? We don't need to do this. I'm gonna say, but the species will die. It's like, yeah, that sucks, but killing other people isn't gonna make it better. Now, if it was worked on the rockets, and it's like giving my last breath to get that rocket made so that they can launch and go to another planet where they can potentially find new men and continue the cultural. Okay, got it. Good with that. That I can do. But helping them to then kill, nope. I'm not good with that one. So yeah, and so it is like, yeah, they just get away with it. Nothing wrong with this at all. There's a lot wrong with it. And look, here's the closest comparison I can think that to make it masculine, right? Is if you had a species that only produced males of the species, okay, but was capable of procreating with females of other species, and so abducted. And you can guess the rest. I know YouTube and such doesn't really like using that terminology. But I mean, it's, yeah. Because that would be the only way for the species to survive, which in theory you could apply to the sirens in the Lorelei signal. Right? And it's like, hey, it's still survival of the species. It's being done a different way. It still involves a violation of a person. In one way, though, it's less. Because in theory, the women in that situation aren't necessarily dying. The sirens are killing the men. But this hypothetical male-only species, so only has sons, in theory, could let the women go. Or take care of them. Could treat them as wives. It was forced, but could still do that. Which, they're alive at least. I mean, it's just, or maybe it is hey, you give us 2 sons and then we let you go. You don't have to kill them there, but these women are killing them, and yet there's no repercussions for them. Whereas those men, I could believe that plenty of stories, if that species was encountered, there would be a concerted effort towards eradicating them. Because that would be seen as too evil. Whereas these women, they just get away. But it will also mention that in theory, if such a species existed, of men, I could see what would develop around that. Wherever they're raiding to get new, to get their brides, I could see it actually becoming something of that other species that they're raiding. Just, it becomes ritualized, such that it is, the impact might be lessened. I'm not sure, but it's like, it would get very complicated versus this, where they're taking and killing men. I'm sorry. It is what these sirens are doing. And then it's just, oh yeah, we'll put you on a new planet. We're just not going to worry about the whole, you've been killing our people, our men, for decades. You've been killing Klingons for decades. You've been killing Romulans for decades. We're just going to ignore all that. So in the end, I give it a 1. So that's positively flavored failure to recommend. It is weird, though, I will grant, because, yeah, no, I'm still going to give it that. In theory, there's a part of me that could make it a 0, just a straight failure to recommend. But no, I'm going to say positively flavored, because there are ways to do it better. Like, the whole thing was just going on. You just change the ending a little bit. That, yes, we move you from this planet, but we're not going to let you get away with this. We are going to punish you for this because it is wrong. Or even just say, we're not going to move you. We're just going to put up buoys to stop people from coming here. You know, quarantine the planet until you die. Could do that. But yeah, it just... And I'm just trying to think. There's... That's right. It's also weird. It's a planet that does the draining. These women of this species, the sirens, they adapted in a way the men couldn't, and from that they were able to survive and also gain the manipulation thing, the emotional manipulation. But Uhura and Nurse Chapel and all the other ladies of the Enterprise are human. It's not the same species. Why are they immune? I mean, it's one of those things where there's no reason that just because you're a female of the species, that doesn't have to mean anything, because different species are still different species. So there is also that issue, and it was even stated when the men first discovered the women there, they did scan them, and it's like, yeah, they look humanoid, but it's different. They're different on the inside. Different organ configuration, things like that, and also that some of it was like psychokinesis. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that. I'm pretty sure that's what Spock had said. But basically that, yeah, these are not their normal. Well, these might not be their normal forms, but it's definitely, they ain't human. They look it, they're not. So then why would Uhura and Chapel be immune, but then the men not be? It's like, you can't just apply that, oh, well, they're women, so they're safe. It's like, no, we don't know that because they're different species, which could then mean that the men should also not be impacted by the planet. Like, it should only be the headbands that impact them. That could be a thing. But they were also being kind of, well, yeah, no, they were also being somewhat impacted because they got knocked out such that the headbands could be put on them because of the effect of the planet. The headbands came later. So... yeah, it's just, I know, I'm getting overly technical here, but it still is you should consider these things, especially when you try and do science fiction, and just try to have that in there, because it's, I'm trying to remember where I started complaining about this. It's like using jargon and using it badly. You're talking down to your audience then. Use it correctly. If you must use jargon, use it, and use it correctly, because then you're talking up to them. You're allowing them to either figure it out, or if they already know the jargon and recognize it, that then means that they are you're talking to them as an equal. So it's like, oh, I know this, and I'm not thinking that you don't know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I understand, so we can work with this. I mean, it's like that. Yeah. I get I'm technically minded, but getting the technical stuff right is important. Because it's exactly what I said. It's a way to talk up to your viewer, to your reader, your listener. It's a way of talking up. If you're messing up the jargon, if you're not being technical, you are at best talking flat to them, but more likely you're talking down to them, because it's like, yeah, I just don't care. I'm gonna make these mistakes, and why should you care? Why should you have any reaction to that? It's like, because you're doing it wrong. It's like, yeah, but who really cares? It's like, I care. I care. All right. I think we can stop now. Although I'm also just thinking, are there any, since I can do the videos, are there any others I can show? Next week's will be one of our plants is missing, which is 7th produced but 3rd aired. One of these I actually don't remember what it is. Actually, maybe a couple of these. I'm gonna play them just so that I can remember. Oh yeah, I also have a couple from Stalag 17. YouTube might very much not like those. Yeah, let me. I think I remember what this one is. I'm not sure.
No, you can't get away from him. hell's heart, I stab at thee. For hate's sake, I spit my last breath at thee.
That'd be a fun way to end these things. I shouldn't do that. But funny thing, in a way, that is also what I mean about talking up. I have yet to read Moby Dick, but that's Moby Dick, and it is one of the. I mean, it's like that is. I've actually tried starting Moby Dick. It was years ago, and that was not easy. But we're also talking like more than 20 years ago. So I was appreciably younger, not necessarily as interested in reading, and certainly not as skilled at it. So I should try that again. What's this other one though? Oh.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Okay, sorry. The thumbnail for that, I couldn't see the face, but okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Here, I got. Let's end it on this one. I like this one. I like this one too. This is also Lawrence of Arabia. It's just such a, man, that's such a good movie.
If we've told lies, you've told half lies. And a man who tells lies, like me, merely hides the truth. But a man who tells half lies has forgotten where he put it.
Such a good movie and such a good line. Anyway, sorry. But I like these movies. I want to share them. I want to talk about them, and I do have more. We're not going to go through those. I do have more clips, but just for further context, that man is a politician in the movie. It's Claude Rains. Claude Rains is the actor. Such a good actor. Did so many good things. You know what? I have to think. I mean, it's like I got Casablanca. I've got Lawrence of Arabia. What else do I have with him in? I might not have enough with him in it. He's such a good actor. At some point, I will get the Universal Monster movie collection, which he did the voice for the Invisible Man. I also want to get the Universal Alfred Hitchcock collection. I think that has Notorious. Yes, Notorious. I have suspicion. That was WB. But Notorious, I think, also has him in there. But yes, such a good actor. Such a good actor. But it's still, isn't that such a good line, especially when you know it's a politician talking? It's like, okay, when you tell lies, like me, it's like, yep, that's a politician. Some things don't change, even though those events would be about 100 years old now. Like, so definitely around that, I don't remember, because it's set during World War One. Anyway, certainly more than enough of my talking. I hope next week I don't have to go to Edge for this. I mean, it's nice I can see the things. It's just then I have to log in on Edge and all that. It's a little bit annoying, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It might also be Waterfox did get an update recently. Maybe that did break something, but it could also be Rumble's just not having having to do this. That's on Rumble. But this is just but the whole camera thing, that's, I got no idea what's up with that. All right. See you next week for One of Our Planets is Missing.